to have a good number of doubts in my mind. Doubts and distractions came because maybe family problems or maybe some problems in this service sphere, or maybe it was some stumbling block in my mind which was inhibiting my progress further. Whatever it be, I used to have quite a good number of doubts. But I never wanted to ask any questions to Baba to disturb him. It's a peculiarity in me. Let me tell you, really, I have not asked a single question in my life to him, but I have got all answers from him. Most of the time he was staying in my house also. And he was conducting meditation every morning in my house. Everybody used to come. I was also sitting down for meditation. During meditation, he will, in his discourse, he will speak in such a manner as if he is answering all my doubts. All my doubts were clear.
Once our principal was the Mr. K.P. Nigam, and he brought a notice in the notice board that a spiritual master called Hariharananda Giri is coming to this college. Those people who are interested, they may join it. So I had certain interest in him, interest not particularly in any individual, but I had some interest to listen about higher truth. If higher truth is there, if somebody has explored, I had very inner urge to meet with the person and to know what is there actually. Because since I was a student of science, I was believing in the science background only. I was just disseminating the things, beliefs as well as the scientific background. So this urged me, this actually pushed me to go over there. And I went to the meeting. I saw that a very enigmatic personality, brilliant, looking very bright, and clad in an orange robe. Orange robe means orange clad clothes were there, and he was in very young, fair colored and bright eyes, piercing deep into the eyes of everyone. So I went there. I was mesmerized. Really, frankly speaking, I was mesmerized. Look at the person concerned. So such a brilliant individual can exist, because I was seeing as a youth of that area, that age, particularly because that time will be around 17 or 18. My age would be at that time, and during that period, I was looking at many people, but a person having that much of brilliance in his eyes, most self-confident, and self-satisfaction is emanating from all his postures, gestures, and language. He's having so authenticity in proclaiming that the higher truths are there, and we individuals are born to achieve that truth. It is something mesmerizing. So I put him certain questions. The questions like, do you believe that God exists? And firmly he told, yes, God exists. Well, can we have a vision of him? Well, yes, it is possible you can have a vision of him. Initially, I just said back, well, how it is possible? It's not how this person is coming, telling me. He told me, you come, you tread on a path, you do certain practices, then only you will be able to know it. Well, how is it? Well, unless you taste a mango, how can you say that what the taste is? Put the mango inside your mouth. If it is not tasty, throw it out. If it is tasting, eat it. It's a very simple answer there.
And I was told by my father-in-law that he had a guru who could make you see the divine light, hear the divine sound, and feel the divine vibrations on day one with him. And I was taken to his place. I saw a saffron-clad individual, fair in complexion, with a smiling face and a sweet voice. So, as is customary, I did bow to him. At my turn, he came to me and kept his hand on the top of my head and said, just focus here and you will see the divine light, hear the divine sound, and feel the divine vibration. Well, I tried to focus at the point up on the top of the head that he had asked me, but was unable to do that. My focus would somehow the other slip to the midst of the eyebrows and would not stuck at the top. I heard no sound. I saw no light. I didn't feel any vibrations, none of the three. So I was very blunt. Being a skeptic, I did not hide myself. Expressed to him very directly and told him I was not experiencing either of the three. He asked me to try once again, and probably 2 or 3 times he did try it with me, but with no success of any experience. He said it's fine, and left me and went to the other disciples, went through his program as it was scheduled. And in the mind, I was very happy. On my way back, I told my father-in-law that I used to call him Papa. So I told him, Papa, see, I told you that you are a weak-willed person, can be easily hypnotized by somebody. But I am a very strong-willed person and I can't be easily hypnotized. So I was not hypnotized and I did not experience your divine light, sound, or vibration. The next morning I woke up, but as a routine, I would get up fairly early in the morning. Some thoughts kept bothering me all throughout, that this guy asked me to focus on the top of the fontanelle. And I couldn't do that. Why my focus would shift to the midst of the eyebrows? I said, I think I am a strong-willed person. So why this failure? Why I cannot focus on the top of the fontanelle? With those thoughts, I said, let me give it a shot, in American words. So to give it a trial, I said, let me see whether I can do it or not. Let me try and focus on the top of the fontanelle. So I sat by myself in the corner of the room, just closed my eyes and tried to focus on the top of the fontanelle. And I was astonished. From nowhere or from somewhere came such a large sound of ringing of bells all around me that it was almost deafening to me. I couldn't hear anything but the sound of ringing of bells. And that was a shocker for me. I was working at that time and throughout my life with a pharmaceutical company. And I did know about human physiology and the diseases a little bit. I did think that I had heard at that point of time something called tinnitus, which is ringing of bells in the ears, which is a cranial nerve damage. And thinking that I had a cranial nerve damage, without understanding beyond than that, I rushed to the hospital. Being a man from the pharmaceuticals, I did have contacts with the senior most physicians and went and met the senior most, the professor of the medicine, and told him that I've got tinnitus. So he asked me what? I said, it is the ringing of bells in the ears continuously. I used to drive a motorbike which is Royal Enfield. I do not know whether you've heard it. It is Bullet Royal Enfield. It's a heavy motorcycle and used to make a fair bit of noise. But while driving that motorbike to the hospital, with all that noise of the traffic, the sound of ringing of bells were absolutely clear and segregated and separate. It was not leaving. The doctor put me on the couch, examined me and gave me a slap on my butt and said, my child, there's nothing wrong with you, you're very fine. There's no cranial nerve damage, it's all fine. But the sound of ringing of bells was not going away. The whole day it persisted with me. While in the night I was going to bed, it was still persisting with me. And as I woke up the next morning, it was still there. The sound wouldn't go. Then I thought that maybe what this gentleman did to me by keeping his hands on my head has brought about some change. And I went to my father-in-law. My ego did not permit me to tell him what were the reason behind of my coming and making a request to him. But I did tell him that I want to see your Guru once again. So he said, for sure, not till Saturday evening or Sunday morning, the sound was persistently there and I could hear it all the times. Looking just at me, he was sitting on the floor with some other individuals. Baba looked at me and said, so, you have come back? And I thought that it was a very loaded remark onto me. But I kept a very straight face and just nodded my head. I didn't wish to give away my emotions to him. So he told me, "Baith jao," that means sit down, and looked at me and said, "Diksha loge? Will you take Diksha from me?" Now, being a skeptic, and as I told you, I had the impression that the saffron club people are money-making game. So I thought, oh, so the money-making game has started. But at the face of it, I just nodded my head and said yes. But mentally decided that whatever this guy will try, I will not give him a penny. In Indian reference, a paisa. I will not give him a paisa, come what may happen. Let him try his best. But kept a very straight face. He asked, before me there were other individuals sitting there. He asked some of them. He asked a couple, you come. And those days he used to perform a fire ceremony in an iron pot. We call it Havan Kund here in India. So he did perform that fire ceremony for the disciples who had come for initiations, and asked this man, after the rituals of giving the Diksha was over, he asked this gentleman, you give me 51 bucks. I'm talking of 73, 51 bucks was a large sum at that point of time. And oh, I said, he is just like others, just wanting money. But still kept a good face. In the environments, I didn't wish to speak. I thought these are all believers and my saying anything would not be taken in a good stream. Called another couple, went through the process and said, I would need X amount, I don't recall what the second amount was, but I would also need a pair of clothes. I said, he's becoming worse by the day. By the hour, he's becoming worse. He is demanding more and more. But still kept a face. I didn't wish to say anything. And then, thirdly, he pointed the finger to me and I said, hey, you come here. So I just went, sat with him. He says, let me first tell you what is the relationship between a disciple and a guru. Just kept hearing, listening to what he was saying. He says, good old days, the true gurus were those kind of people who would devote their lifetime just to realize the God. They were so absorbed in the process of practicing to realize the God that they had no time for their material needs. But being in the body form, the body did require clothes to protect from the environments, the changing weather. Body did require food as a nourishment to continue. And because they were not paying the attention towards the materialistic needs or the physical needs of the body would start deteriorating. And people who had a generous heart, some of them, would take a pity on the individual who was unable to look after his physical needs, would come and give some food or materials or clothes to this person to take care of himself. Now, knowing the fact that the body does require or does have the physical needs, this man who was in the search of realization would accept the physical things like clothes and food from the people who just donated or just gave those things to him. The moment the guy accepted the food and the clothes, he became indebted to the individuals who had given him the food and clothes. And mentally, because he was indebted, he wanted to pay back his debts, but had no material means to pay back the debts. So what he would do is to take a vow that till this guy is spiritually lifted to the enlightenment, he is my responsibility. Because I am indebted, I have to repay back. I cannot repay him in terms of materials because I am incapable. But what I can do is to spiritually look after him, spiritually look after his upliftment till he achieves the enlightenment. So a relationship got established. And that was the relationship between a guru and a disciple. So I thought that was pretty impressive. He looked at me with very keen eyes and said, "You think I care for money? You think I care for these clothes that I am demanding?" He picked up the clothes and threw. He said, "They are of no consequence to me. Money is of no consequence to me. From you, being in a bodily form, I have another need, and that need is to be loved. Can you give me your love?" So I became unruffled because my inner thoughts have not been expressed to anybody. And this guy was just throwing me naked out in the open, expressing it right in front of me. And he says, "You haven't brought anything, I know. Just pick up a flower. There are so many flowers lying around here. Just pick up a flower, offer it with love to me, and that will be your Guru Dakshina, and I'll accept you as my disciple from today." I did pick up the flower, offered him the flower, and he just kept his hand on my head. I was so overwhelmed, I couldn't control my emotions. I gave away, I broke down and wept. That was my initiation on day one with Guru. He was such an individual who could read my thoughts, who could read my mind. And I must say at least this much before concluding this thought with you. that I did not give him any material for years thereafter, and he never demanded me one, but gave me his love, so much of love that I was always overwhelmed. And that was my journey beginning with him.
Some saint or like that who is staying at Bakshi Bazar, he gave me a flower. I kept it with me, and after 7 days I found that the flower is as such, and some waters are coming from the flower. I wanted to know why is it happening with Tantra or like that. So I went to meet Gurudev. Gurudev at the time was Bhubaneswar in P.K. Misra residence, in Unit 6. I met him there. I handed over the flower to him and narrated the entire story that some saint came and gave it to me. And I kept it, and after 7 days, I find it the place and some water is coming from it. So somebody told me that it may harm me. Then he looked at me and told that the power has God has saved you. Don't worry, nothing will happen. He tells that this world is an illusion. Don't get very much attached to this world. Many occasions tells, and he sings a song that Koloto gache rahichi lotoni para. He sings and explains and tells that be casual with all these worldly things. And secondly, he always tells when you are combing your hair or you are brushing, think that he is doing within it. Only think of him.
Year of 1983, actually, I came. It was during March, 22nd of March. Function was going on at Kodar Ashram. I went there. It was 24th actually. 24th, I was present. The function was over. The ashram was filled with disciples. I wanted to have a talk with Gurudev. So all the sannyasis and other disciples, some of them told, no, you cannot meet him because he's very busy. I was in the meditation hall, so I just asked for a piece of paper and scribbled one line, one sentence, that I am waiting for last 10 years to talk to you. And I handed over the paper to that man. I told you just give him. I don't mind if he doesn't allow me to talk with him. So after 5 minutes, that man called me, came, and Gurudev is calling you. So I went inside his bedroom. Gurudev was sitting on the cot. All disciples were full on the ground. He asked me, yes, what do you want? I told, I want to talk in private with you. I was very much impressed rather by his way of approach. He never told, all of you leave, I want to talk with him. He told, on the other hand, all of you sit here. This boy and me are going outside. We'll talk outside. That thing impressed me very much. So all the disciples, they told, no, we are leaving, you please talk. So they left. I had a talk. He told me, you see, I am very busy. You should limit your talk to 5 minutes, queries to 5 minutes. I told that I will take 2 minutes only, not 5 minutes. And second point he raised, talk about only spiritual things. I told yes. Then I told that I already have my guru, he is Satya Sai Baba. But reading the autobiography of Yogi, I have an inclination. It fascinates me. Whether such things exist, are they true? So those things have attracted me. So I have come to you to learn these things, this Kriya Yoga. But since I have had a guru, it is told in our scriptures, if you go for second guru, it is not good. So I am in a dilemma, what to do. Then Gurudev told me, what your conscience tells. And then I told, that's what I cannot decide. Then Gurudev told, okay, your guru is your guru, he is fixed. I am not your guru. I will give you a technique, you practice it. The more and more you practice, the more and more you will realize your own guru. I told, okay. Then second question I asked, that supposing I take the technique from you, I have doubts, who is going to clear all my doubts? That time, Yogeshwarananda Baba and another Swamiji was there from Bhubaneswar. Both were very highly, they were doing higher kriyas. He told they are good sadhakas, they can clarify all your doubts. Because Gurudev was staying abroad at that time. So second question he answered. Third question, I told, what is your impression about Satya Sai Baba? He told, whom the whole world is adoring, why should not I adore? Then I told, this is not my answer. Then he told, what? I then told that I have heard that you are a realized master. So in a realized master's eye, what is your impression about him? Then he told me, she is the world teacher. So then fourth thing I asked him, if I want to take initiation and technique from you, technique, I will only take from you. I will not take from anybody else. Then he told, okay, here initiation is finished. You come to Bhubaneswar ashram, and you have to be prepared for 1.5 days. You have to stay with me for 1.5 days. I told, I have plenty of time, I will stay. So Bhubaneswar ashram I came. It was 26th evening. There was a mass diksha. Many number of people, they were there. And one Shambhu Baba, one of the senior most disciples, he was there. So all were sitting in line. So suddenly Shambhu Baba came to me and stood before me, by the side of me, and the initiation is to start. My mind was not accepting Shambhu Baba for taking initiation, because Gurudev has told that he will give initiation. Suddenly Gurudev came from his room, entered the doorsteps of the hall, and he shouted from at a distance, "Oh Shambhu Baba, you leave him, you leave that boy. You go to another person, I am going to him." So Gurudev came, my heart was satisfied. He came to me and started the process of initiation. Well, no words in my life I can describe about the process of initiation. No words will suffice that. Gurudev cleansed the body as usual. Then the same mantra he gave me, which I was already having before. Then he took hold of my both the feet and bowed before me. He tossed the head to both my feet, and a thrill, just like electric current, passed through my body and spine and head. Because I was shrinking, he just pulled it forcibly, both the foot. And then he purified the parts, touched all body parts, and gave the initiation and put me in Jyoti Mudra. While I was in that state, suddenly I was drowned in the blinding, many multicolored light. and a sound also. Sound was coming somewhere from, I don't know, but that light, like just the light we burn during Deepavali, multicolor. It is just coming, just going from me towards horizon, and I was just drowned. I don't know for how long I was there in that state. When it normalized, I just opened my eyes and I found Gurudev is not with me. He has gone to another person.
He loves these children, he loves these students. But you are all energetic fellow, you are all students. So now it is the time for you to meditate. So all your questions, all your, at that time you are very much inclined to question him various things. So always you will be telling, I am ready to give you answers. But don't ask so many questions, you meditate. All your, sometimes I know something is in my mind, I wanted to question him. But after meditation, we will give you a small discourse. And in that discourse, he will reply everything. Wherever you go, I wanted to ask him 2 or 3 questions. And I know without asking his questions, in the discourse itself, he will reply all these things. I get my reply from the discourse itself. So at that time, no, Baba, how could Baba know all these things? Because that question is in my mind, how could Baba know that it is my question? So there was no need to question Baba at that time. Sometimes he, from himself, from his own accord, he replies the queries of students, the queries of disciples.
Another occasion, another doubt. I had not registered my name to be initiated at Kadar Ashram. I was told Gurudev can do impossible as possible, unthinkable as thinkable, impracticable as practicable. Then it is an impossibility. I can't get initiation. I must go and approach him. Early in the morning, I reached the destination and sat down quietly in the pathway where beloved Gurudev is supposed to proceed and go to the meditation hall. I was intently watching and carefully trying to listen to the footsteps of the divine personage. I heard his coming. Whole of my body was excited. Mind was also having a kind of commotion. I stood up when I saw him. Instead of bowing to him in the tradition of India, I stood up. Then he said, what a foolishness. I immediately sat down, touched him and touched his feet and stood up. What the matter? What the problem? I want to be initiated. Follow me. He smiled and I followed him. Still I had the doubt. I have not registered my name. Shall the ashram authority reject me? Reject and disallow me? I was still full of doubts. When I was entering the hall, following the master, literally, I heard many necks craning in that side and that. Who is this fellow? Why is he getting in? I could decipher. That was the question in their mind. But I was following the master literally. Follow me. I sat down at the lotus feet of my beloved master, and he's chosen me to be initiated first on that day. Nothing more I can say. Doubt gone. At the end part of the initiation, he came. Loving one, come near me. I said, how can I go there? He's sitting in the dais. I'm such a lowest of the low. How can I go near the highest of the high? I was really afraid. And he's such a great personality, gentle Colossus, full of love, full of compassion. But we are feeling, how can I go? Ultimately, he asked me to come. And I went there. Sit behind me. I had to sit there. On the left hand side of him, he pushed his arm around my neck. Come closer, pushed me. I was feeling very embarrassed. How can I go nearer to him? My thigh touching his thigh. Oh my Lord. A moment of anxiety, a moment of excitement, a moment of feeling merged with the Master.